recognized by DIPP as an official startup for the Make in India initiative. Mr. K. Sri Harsha received his bachelor's and master's degree in civil engineering in hydrology and water resource management from IIT Kanpur. He was also the senior project associate leading the project establishing a critical zone observatory CZO in the Ganga Basin, which was a joint effort between the Ministry of Earth Sciences and IIT Kanpur. In today's session, Mr. Harsha will talk about his entrepreneurial journey and various innovations that his company has brought in the field of water resource management. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Harsha to continue from here kindly. Hello?
Am I visible and audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So, Sisti, can you give me a sense of who are the audience here? They're all
Yes, we have Y21 and Y20 civil students.
Y21 and Y20. So it's what, first year and second year students, or
Second year and third year,
second
actually.
year and third year students? Okay, wonderful. So how do we do this session? Do you want me to just go on, share my experiences, or do you want to do it as a question and answer session? What would be your
Uh,
preference?
if you want to talk something about yourself, your company, and if we could get you an insight about what Kristnam Technologies is all about, it would be wonderful.
Okay. So
And then we can
I'll
have
do
a
one
question.
thing. So I'll give you my journey in campus. So that'll give some sense. So maybe in next 15-20 minutes or half an hour, I'll talk about my personal journey in IIT Kanpur. Then I can take specific questions from people and we can go from there. Would that be fine for you?
Definitely great.
Hello guys, I'm Harsha. I joined IIT Kanpur in 2008. So I'm basically from South India, Hyderabad. Uh, so when I first time came to IIT in 2008, I think the way the campus is now and the way the campus was there back then, the significant difference with respect to majorly because of ragging. I think right now there is no concept of ragging. I believe so, but back in our time, ragging was the thing. Like we used to be held by seniors in our quad. The first years used to stay in hall 2, hall 3, and fourth years used to stay in hall 1. So back then our population was just 550 per batch, or including girls. So I think 500 boys. So we used to fit between hall 2, hall 3, and hall 5. So first year, as you all know, it was the courses are all mixed with every other department. The real civil engineering started for us in third year and fourth year. BTech for me was all, it went away. So I was in entrepreneurial journey since my first year. Since my first year, with my seniors, I started my first company on advertising, and with civil engineering, a lot of time. That's what I realized. कोर्सेस आसान है, ठीक है, इतना ज़्यादा मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. And we had sufficient ample enough time to look at things beyond civil engineering, and especially it gave us opportunity to be entrepreneurial right from the start. So I started 2 companies while I was in campus. I was also head of filmmaking club. I don't know if it is there now or not. STV. It used to be called as Student Television or Filmmaking Club. We used to shoot short movies, and also show a series of pictures to everyone in the auditorium. Right now, I think it's Y8. And my real study, or my real academic sense have started in my thesis, in my dual degree thesis. So during the BTech times, it was I was also I started a company on advertising. I was organizing fashion shows for charity. I was involved in developing a software-based company along with my partner. So I was never into civil. But unexpectedly, I am one of the few guys who graduated from civil engineering and are still working on the core. So if you ask my batchmate, then they would never imagine कि ये बंदा civil में जाएगा, ये core में जाएगा करके. They always thought कि as the one who will go astray from the department. But surprisingly, जो लोग मतलब अच्छे CPI holders थे, अच्छे marks लाने वाले थे. None of them stayed in civil engineering. All of them moved to either finance or consultancy. It's both surprising and saddening to know that the opportunities in civil engineering are not evident from the first. Like when you compare the good packages that you, if from the packages perspective, your initial package in civil engineering will look very low compared to what other engineering graduates like civil like mechanical engineering or even Dabbe, Bhatti, electrical engineering, significantly different. And you will be tempted, usually people are tempted to leave their core. Most of them, like all good performing people in our class left the core, they went into finances or consultancy and they settled there. But the few people who chose core, they did have tough time at the starting, but they have put themselves in a very niche place where their roots cannot be uplifted. So they've grown strong in their position. So it has been a similar case since last 10 years that I have observed in the campus. Even though I have joined in 2008, until 2021 I was in campus. So 2013-14 I graduated. I got a campus. I also got a campus placement in a software company as a sales and marketing executive somewhere in Pune with 15 LPA I think package. That at that time I was doing my thesis very seriously, so I had a choice whether to extend my thesis a bit more to give it a good ending, or should I take the job. But fortunately, I didn't. I chose not to take my job offer. So because I did not do anything in the BTech, all the entire time of BTech, I've spent I spent in the entrepreneurial journey, or spending having fun with friends. Like never studied. Like एग्जाम्स के पहले जो 7 पॉइंटर 8 पॉइंटर होते हैं उनके उनके रूम पे जाते थे, वो एक दिन पहले पढ़ाते थे. जितना वो पढ़ाता था उसको बी आता है तो मुझे सी, उसको ए आता था मुझे बी. दिस इज हाउ most of us, or at least a good number of people from my batchmates passed away. But during the thesis, I worked with Professor Shivam Tripathi. मुझे ये था कि यार बीटेक मैंने तो कुछ किया ही नहीं, थीसिस तो यार ऐसे करते हैं जो एकदम मतलब that will prove who I am. So I hydrology seemed more interesting compared to all other departments in the civil. बाकी तो क्या ही स्ट्रक्चरल है, ट्रांसपोर्ट है, जो कि काफी काफी स्टैंडर्ड है. मतलब स्ट्रक्चरल कर दिया तो तुम कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बन जाओगे, सिविल इंजीनियरिंग बन जाओगे, बिल्डिंग खड़ा कर दोगे. ट्रांसपोर्ट में जाओगे तो क्या रोड रोड बनाओगे. जियो टेक्निकल इज समवॉट इंटरेस्टिंग, बट हाइड्रोलॉजी फेल्ट लाइक यार नेचर है, रिवर्स है, एकदम लार्ज स्केल कुछ सिस्टम्स है. मे बी यू कैन स्टडी देम, यू कैन नो थिंग्स बेटर. So I joined hydrology, and I took a topic on what makes a river perennial. So river में rainy season पानी आता है, and if all the water goes away right at that instant, then where would you get water during the winter or even summer? Snowmelt थोड़ा बहुत आता है, but बाकी water कहाँ से आएगा? So that problem statement enticed me. I thought this is something that I can really solve. So I got into it, and I came to know that ये तो थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही बड़ा problem statement है. And during the thesis I took it very seriously, जो कि होल बीटेक के टाइम पे कोर्स की हम हमारे टाइम पे अटेंडेंस भी नहीं होता था. कैंपस काफी अभी आई थिंक बहुत सारे रूल्स आ गए, बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट बन गए. हमारे टाइम पे कोई चेक नहीं करते कि रूम पे कौन है, बाहर कौन है, क्या है. मतलब इट वाज कंप्लीटली फ्री. देयर वाज अ बाउंड्री कंडीशन कि अगर तुम परफॉर्म नहीं करोगे तो टर्मिनेट हो जाओगे बहुत आसानी से. आई थिंक मेरे बैच में 550 पीपल में से फर्स्ट ईयर में 30 पीपल गॉट टर्मिनेटेड, सेकंड ईयर में 20. So the boundary condition was very tough. Your CPA cannot go below 5. If you go there, then you're gone. But in between that, you're very free. I never attended any classes. So कभी कुछ सीखने को मिला नहीं. But during the thesis, because there was a problem that I was going behind, that's when I started learning. My real learning started there. पूरा सिविल इंजीनियरिंग मैंने एक साल में कर दिया जो ड्यूअल डिग्री के टाइम पे, स्पेसिफिकली रिलेटेड टू हाइड्रोलॉजी एंड वाटर रिसोर्स इंजीनियरिंग. मुझे काफ़ी मज़ा आया था. और आई a lot of my work also involved going to the field, studying how does the groundwater interact with the river water, rainy season के समय पे, rainy season के time पे कितना, how much of the water goes inside, how much goes onto the stays on the surface, how much time does it take for the rainwater to reach the river. So it's a bit about mathematics, physics, and a lot about the physical reality also. So the field experience, a lot of intuitive or experiential empirical knowledge इसमें था. So I ये whole process में ये तो thesis था कि भाई पता करो what makes a river perennial, but we for my thesis I was using data sets from an agency called Central Water Commission. ये इंडिया का रिवर मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी है. दीज आर द पीपल हु आर रिस्पांसिबल फॉर कलेक्टिंग द रिवर डेटा, मैनेजिंग रिवर सिस्टम्स. हम क्या सोचते हैं यार, सेल फोन्स वगैरह ये सब इतना टेक्नोलॉजी बन गया, हम लैपटॉप से वी आर फार अहेड एज ए जनरेशन. वी इन टेक्नोलॉजी वी आर वेरी सुपीरियर कंपेयर टू 15 years बैक, 20 years बैक. तो हम क्या सोचेंगे, जो हमारा प्रेशियस वाटर रिसोर्सेस है, जो फंडामेंटल है टू ह्यूमन एग्जिस्टेंस, इसका तो एकदम मतलब सोफिस्टिकेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करके मैनेज करते होंगे, लाइक एवरीथिंग इज सेट. We must be technologically advanced with respect to water. That's what I thought. But for these models that we are working on, अगर तुम लोग if you know, there's this project called Namami Ganga Action Plan. It's a last 20,000 crore project by Government of India. इसमें my thesis was also a part of that, and there is this simple water level data. ये जो rivers में how does the water level fluctuate? They usually people record it. The Central Water Commission is supposed to record it every 1 hour, every 1 hour every day. So the we and in along the river there are like around 30-40 different stations. जिसका data लेके हम models बनाते हैं. Now we saw that there was few missing data across the river Ganga, and I had to personally go and collect it. And we use this data as a truth. So ये सारे models में there is you cannot put so much of physics. It's mostly force fitting the data to your model. So data is the truth. अगर data गलत है तो सब कुछ गलत है. ऐसा मान लो कि data भगवान है इसमें, इस मॉडल में. Now हम हमारे पास तो हर एक 1 hour का data मिल जाता था. So when I went to the site, there was the first site when I went there, I thought there would be some kind of sophisticated equipment जो कि water level को एकदम टक 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 रीडिंग करके भेजती रहेगी. और मैं गया उधर, देखा एक मैनुअल लेवल है बहुत दूर में, एक स्टिक टाइप का रखा हुआ था, उसमें गेजिंग होता है. देयर वाज अ वेरी ओल्ड पर्सन लाइक 60 years old दैट ही वो अंकल बोल रहे कि वो दूर से देखता है, वो बोलता है कि सुबह एक बार लिखता है और शाम में एक बार लिखता है, और बोलता है he says that in between how Ganga fluctuates, he knows Ganga for 30 years, how it fluctuates, and he writes the data. The second place I went, there's a small kid, he says ki his father sends him only once in a day or twice in a day. The rest of the time, his father writes the data on his own. In the night, you don't see the gauge, but people write the data. When the flood levels are high, you don't go there, you don't risk your life. You call the guy upstream and you ask him उन्होंने क्या लिखा, and basing on that you write something. See, this it was a overwhelming experience कि जिस डेटा को लेके मैं एकदम सीरियसली सिंसियरली अपना टाइम लगा के मॉडलिंग कर रहा हूँ, the whole fundamental itself are flawed. तो मैंने सोचा यार ये तो this is something is wrong. That is it the way that everywhere it is, or is it then I also walked along Ganga. I walked along 850 kilometers across the river Ganga on walk without any money to understand how is water resource managed in India. I went to irrigation departments, I went to municipality, I went to industries, all on foot. I realized that water management in India is a guesswork. No one knows how much water is going where. There is no measurement system, there is no analysis. सब कुछ अंदाजे से और guesswork से चलता है, run by outdated heuristics. It was a surprising to me. Okay, surprising thing to me कि यार हम we do such so high frequency trading के लिए, let's say you use such sophisticated models, एक fundamental रिसोर्स को मैनेज करने के लिए we don't use anything, just guess. Uh, so this was an overwhelming experience. Even drinking water supply, there is a standard 40 to 50% efficiency loss. मतलब पानी at the source you know how much water you're sending, at the distribution final outlet level में you don't know how much water goes. It's all a guesswork. The significant portion of our water, even though we have sufficient water, we are not able to supply the water as required by the people in various sectors. ये ड्रिंकिंग वाटर सप्लाई हो गया, या एग्रीकल्चरल वाटर सप्लाई हो गया, या even river water supply, or even industrial water supply where people are incentivized to use the water, where the water is costly, where people pay for the water directly. Even then, it's a guesswork. So that was an overwhelming experience. फिर मैं thesis खत्म करके मैंने सोचा कि यार इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करते हैं. My friends are all getting into the domains which pays, but I thought this is a problem that is worth solving. यार फेल भी हो गया ना 3 साल 4 साल में, इतना टफ प्रॉब्लम को लोगों को बोल सकते हैं टफ प्रॉब्लम करते करते फेल हो गया तो इतना इज्जत नहीं करेंगे, है ना. So that gave me comfort to take up this challenge with leaving that 15 LPA kind of job which I got during the placement, and join IIT Kanpur as a research associate with 20,000 per month job. And then we did a project called I think Srishti has just mentioned about it. It was establishing critical zone observatory, first critical zone observatory in the North India. Critical zone observatory मतलब generally you agriculture के बारे में किसी बारे में स्टडी करना है, you take the resources to the lab and you study. But critical zone observatories, you put a lot of equipment in the field and you make the real agricultural fields as a laboratory. So we converted 25 square kilometer, roughly around 30 to 40 villages as a laboratory, a real laboratory, by installing a good number of equipment. So while doing this, I was closely interacting with farmers, where I used to spend time with them, understanding what is their water needs, and we also have to deploy instruments, collect the data like such as soil moisture, air temperature, weather data, groundwater level fluctuations, surface water level fluctuations, soil moisture, canal water levels, farm wheat irrigation scheduling, irrigation pattern by the farmers. ये सब देखे हमने समझ में आ गया कि यार इंडिया में एग्रीकल्चर डाइंग है. किसान, the farmer doesn't want his son to be or children to be farmers, especially because nothing comes out of it. There is no resource efficiency, and out of everything, the old traditional knowledge is broken down because seeds are new, fertilizers are new. There is no knowledge base that tells them how much of the input resources to use. In that, water is one. So when we are collecting the weather data, the farmers used to ask us, बच्चे लोग आप ये मौसम के बारे में you collect data about the weather and you do also do forecasting. Why don't you give us the data? So then we thought it is an interesting thing, and we so we call then we try to understand what is that they require. So we understood that the crops, more water is harmful for the crops, less water is harmful for the crop. It's like right amount of water at right time precisely is what crops require. So then we collaborated with University of Washington, IIT Kanpur में Professor Bharat Lohani sir, Shivam Tripathi, and we came up with a project called PANI, Provision of Advisory for Necessary Irrigation, supported by World Bank, where we did some sophisticated stuff where we took satellite data, remote sensing data, मतलब बहुत टाइप के remote data sets को analysis करके we calculated what is the evapotranspiration, what is the water loss per field. If we estimated exactly for a wheat crop how much of water gets lost in the form of evaporation or transpiration, and how much through seepage, and basing upon that we gave advisory to farmers on how much to irrigate and when to irrigate, and irrigation advisory and weather forecast. In 6 months with 150 farmers we could save around 30 million liters of water. It was a new learning for us. NASA has published about our work on their website. World Bank has wrote a report saying that it's the 7 most disruptive technologies in the world. बहुत सारे यूएस जर्नल्स में पब्लिश हो गए. हम लोग सोचा यार हमने तो छोटा काम कर दिया पर इतना ज्यादा नाम मिल गया. फिर then we started evolving that idea, and today we are doing something similar in the canal industry. Meanwhile, in the same time, we were also working with river level. I told you, right, the whole idea started because की river का level available नहीं है. First हमने सोचा यार river का level solve करते. But for doing all these, to develop technology, first you won't have any money. IIT कानपुर से पास आउट था 2015 में. मैं 2015 अगस्त में डिसाइड किया कि यार स्टार्टअप करते हैं, आईआईटी कानपुर का प्रोजेक्ट छोड़ के, वो वाला प्रोजेक्ट. देन यू नो टिपिकल VCs डोंट गिव यू मनी फॉर हार्डवेयर. हार्डवेयर ऐसा चीज है कि पीपल पीपल टच फैंसी थिंग्स, ई-कॉमर्स, सॉफ्टवेयर, बट नो हार्डवेयर. सो द ओनली थिंग दैट वी कुड डिपेंड ऑन इज ग्रांट्स. तो हमने लिखना शुरू कर दिया, जितना भी गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट्स हैं, जिसमें 10 लाख दे रहे हो, 5 लाख दे रहे हो, 30 लाख दे रहे हो, बस लिखते गए. लाइक वी जस्ट kept on writing. And in 1 year, we could secure around 1 crore, 30 lakhs from Ericsson, 30 lakhs from Imprint in the Department of Science and Technology, 10 lakhs from Department of Science and Technology, Nidhi Prayas. So, and couple of others. And we started. These are all R&D grants. So you take this money and you do research and develop sensors or the measurement technologies within it. तो हमारा what we have pitched is इंडिया में वाटर को मॉनिटर करने की जरूरत है. नाउ द वाटर गोज फ्रॉम रिवर्स टू कैनाल्स, टैंक्स, पॉन्ड्स, लेक्स, पाइप्स, एग्रीकल्चर लैंड्स. If you can monitor water at these specific locations in terms of their quantity, then you can do everything about water budgeting. Every drop of water you can keep a count on it, and you can tell how much water is going where are the losses, where is an excess, where can you conserve, and how can you become efficient. So the core of all of it is two measurements. One is level, another is flow. If you can monitor level of the water and flow of water, these are the two magic parameters. This will just give you everything about water budget. So knowing this, then we wrote the road proposals both for developing technology and also implementing technology. In 3 years, we have raised around 3.5 crores for the company and around 10 crores for IIT Kanpur. So we mastered how to write grants. So we know exactly what people want to hear, and we used to write that. And but उसमें क्या है कि हमने बहुत सारे अलग अलग टेक्नोलॉजीज में लिख दिया कि एक में सॉइल मॉइस्चर डेवलप कर देंगे, एक में सैटेलाइट कम्युनिकेशन डेवलप कर देंगे, एक में वाटर लेवल, एक में टर्बिडिटी, एक में पीएच, एक में वाटर फ्लो, एक में ओपन चैनल फ्लो, एक में पाइप फ्लो. So we put our hands at multiple places and we also burnt our hands. So what we realized is टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप करना इतना आसान नहीं है जितना जितना सोचते. प्रोटोटाइप डेवलप करने में लगता है. प्रोटोटाइप तो डेवलप हो जाएगा, 2-3 वायर्स जोड़ दो, डेवलपिंग बोर्ड्स ले लो, यू टेक एन एप्लीकेशन, यू गेट इट डन. बट फ्रॉम देयर टू मेकिंग ए प्रोडक्ट दैट कैन रन without with a like an industrial product, it takes significant amount of work, जो कि पहले पता नहीं था. तो अच्छा हुआ कि पता नहीं था, पता होता शायद स्टार्ट नहीं करता. So that ignorance allowed us to start. And हमने initially 3 years, so we developed the water level sensors first. तो वाटर लेवल सेंसर डेवलप करने के लिए हम पहले सेंट्रल वाटर कमीशन के पास ही गया. हमने सबसे पहले डायरेक्टर के पास गया, उनको वी टोल्ड हिम, सर हमारा कंपनी स्टार्ट करने के लिए आप ही रीज़न है, आप ही की वजह से हम आज इधर है, क्योंकि आप लोग अपना काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. सो देन वी टोल्ड देम कि the way the data is collected manually is not good. They say कि we know it, what is there for you to tell us. ये तो हमें पता है, but there is no other option. See, they're saying that there is an existing equipment, radar हो, ultrasonic हो, there are various technologies by which you can measure water level. Ultrasonic pulse, in a very simple way, you send ultrasonic pulse, like how bats function. You send a pulse and you receive it back, you know the time of flight and you know the speed of the sound, you get a distance. And this is quite precise. You get it in the terms of an mm. Very similar, you can do it with radar, but radar is not dependent on environmental conditions like temperature, pressure, dust, rainfall, etc. But ultrasonic gets affected by all of this. Now they say these technologies are there outside. These equipment come costly, but these people never solved for Indian conditions. हम लोग import करते हैं. ये in foreign country में so you these are legacy instruments, almost 2000 early 2000 में बना हुआ है, जिसमें there is a big solar panel, there is a big lead acid battery, and there, if you see the equipment, these are like around 2 meter long and almost 1 meter wide big boxes, जिसमें बहुत सारे systems रन होते हैं, बहुत बड़ा solar panel चाहिए होता है. उन्होंने बोला यार इंडियन कंडीशन में ओपन ब्रिजेस में अगर सोलर पैनल या बैटरी लगाते हो ओपन में, either one of it or both of it are gone in a week. It is neither the problem of people, not the problem of the government, not the vendor. तो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स काम मतलब रखे होते हैं बट काम नहीं करते, कोई No one takes the responsibility of it. Then he says, "See, if you guys are making the same equipment again, even though it is cheaper, we won't take it." Then we thought, okay, the first problem to solve is wherever there is water, there is no electricity. We had to make the instruments run on extremely low power. Yeah, tomorrow your phones connect to the internet and your battery die in 2 days, right? But we decided to run our devices connected to internet, but run on non-rechargeable batteries for 3 to 5 years. This was the problem statement. So then we did research, R&D basis, R&D के money से uh, we called a lot of our batchmates, जिसको भी नॉर्मल कॉर्पोरेट जॉब से थक गए ना कि यार भाई मजा नहीं आ रहा है उसमें, हमको कुछ अलग करना है, और सबको बुला लिया है कि आ जाओ तुम भी 25,000 30,000 लो, आईटी कंट्रोल प्रोजेक्ट में डाल देंगे, आर्य हॉस्टल न्यू आर्य हॉस्टल में रहो, काम करो. This is what we told them. And we collected a good group of people. We started working on it and we started developing. So in a year, we deployed around 25 devices along the river Ganga that collects the water level data, transmits in real time. Every 10 minutes, you get the data. Data is recorded. Every 1 hour, the data is transmitted. And there's a version with solar panel which you don't look like a solar panel. It comes along with the body where it keeps on running. Other version on batteries, it can run for 2 to 3 years. So you don't have to remove the device, or there is no theft. The instrument size was compressed to 10 times smaller. It's only 10 centimeter into 10 centimeter, this much box. Well, compared to 1 meter into 2 meter kind of box. So in the process, we realized India, madam, we have to solve our problems in as per Indian context. The technology is like, yeah, Lego type mein hai. That there's so many things that you can do with the technology. The core thing is you need to understand what do our customers or what do Indian context require, and then you figure out how can you use this technology to mold it, to fabricate it in a way that it suits our Indian conditions. So and इसके बाद next 20 30 और हिमालयस में भी deploy किया. You must have heard about Uttarakhand flash floods. वो केदारनाथ बद्रीनाथ नहीं, वो जो recently 1 2 years back 3 years back आया था. So so during that flood times, we are the ones who gave real-time data to the Central Water Commission, helped them manage. We got a good coverage. हिंदू और हिंदू business line में हर जगह टॉप में आ गए कि radar levels, automated sensors and people to monitor it करके. But in this whole process, we realized that yeah, government business, government is not a good customer. वो innovation के नाम पे maybe some business they do some business, but you cannot really scale in the government business. So we initially thought we'll solve the Grand River problem, but then we were stuck with not able to sell more. हमने डिवाइस तो बना लिया यार, इतना मेहनत करके हम ग्रांट भी यूज कर लिया, डिवाइस भी बन गया, अच्छा डिवाइस बन गया, एकदम हाई परफॉर्मेंस डिवाइस बन गया और लो कॉस्ट में भी बन गया, ऑलमोस्ट 5 times lower than that is there in the market, but no one buys because government is the only market and government is stuck with the status quo. Now, if you start getting the good data, all that past work of data will start get questioned. So people did not want to buy it. So we realized all the situations after that. So then हमने सोचा था कि यार now even though the problem statement is right and we put all of our efforts, we need to focus on a better market. So then that's when National Green Tribunal is able to give a regulation to India that says that all commercial borewell groundwater in India is being overexploited. You have to charge. Then we helped government come up with a regulation. We helped them draft it along with IIT Kanpur. Now there's a regulation that says that all commercial borewells, which includes schools, malls, offices, hospitals, industries, mines, everyone have to, hotels, restaurants, all of them who has a commercial borewell have to install water meter, smart water meter on their borewells and have to pay bills. Now we shifted to this business. We raised funds. We raised around maybe till now we must have raised around 25 to 26 crores, and we set up a production facility here in Hyderabad. That is where we are. So meanwhile we are also doing one exploratory project, the Pani project that I have told you. While we are doing the Pani project, the project होने के बाद we went to farmers and we asked कि हमने जो advisory दिया उससे फायदा तो हो गया, 30 million liters सेव हो गया, but they are like yeah, if I'm using groundwater then I can make use of your advisory, but if you're using canal water, the canal water never comes on time. It comes either beforehand or later in large quantities or small quantities, but if farmer can, there is no certainty towards when you will get water. That uncertainty leads to significant losses. So then we came up with a project called Ishwar, irrigation scheduling using real-time data on water requirement, which we have currently we're doing a project in Karnataka where we are doing similar demand supply estimation using level sensors and weather forecasting data, satellite data analysis, and telling farmers exactly when can they expect water in their canal systems, and telling irrigation department on how much water they should release in the canals as per a schedule. So merging the gap between water users and water suppliers is the core of what we do. Now see, doing all of this now over 7 years of our journey in water, initially we thought, यार डेटा नहीं है, पोर्टल्स नहीं है, एनालिसिस नहीं है, सबसे पहले इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स बनाते हैं, we'll make instruments that can mine the data. Second, we'll build portals that will connect the water users and water managers in a single platform so that transparency is built. Then we thought कि ये data जो large data collect होता है, we can use some models, hydrology models, hydraulic models और AML models use करके insights generate करें. Then we thought कि ये water management वाला problem solve. But after working for 7 years, we realized that in India, the problem is not technology. Problem is motivation. No one wants to solve water. There is no incentive to solve water. So there is no incentive for department to increase their efficiency. There is no incentive for farmer to use less water. There is no incentive for a householder to use water efficiently or in an optimized. There is no incentive. We don't care. This is the problem. Technology is not the problem. That's what we have realized. So now with that understanding, we are creating something called as a water coin, water credits, where whoever conserves water, whoever saves water, whoever digitizes their water, we are giving credits to the people. So we are rewarding good behavior in water. So this is the direction that we are taking. The future is about generating a right value to water. Solve motivation first, and then technology will be solved, is what we realized after 7 to 8 years of our journey. This is where we are. I'd like to hear from you if you have any specific questions. So to summarize, as a company, I think we are around 9 people from IIT Kanpur, me, my juniors, my seniors, and few from IIT Kharagpur, PhDs from IIT Roorkee, IIT Guwahati, IIT Tirupati. So the core of our journey is we were excited by tough problems. And of course, we got lured into solving tougher problems without looking at the market. But the core is look at a problem, fall in love with it, and then keep solving it. I think the paths will unfold, and you have to persist if you want to do something original. Otherwise, you can always take a job, and have it settle life. But I've seen my friends. I'm telling you. See, initially when you have when you don't have money, getting paid, having that freedom of money in your hand looks good for a certain period of time. But after that, I'm seeing this constant disappointment. You're all smart guys, smart people. You're all smart people. You have certain intellectuality. But when you're forced, when you're limited to or boundary to only work for certain circumstances and for an outcome that has no real value for you, okay, eventually it will hit you. If not today, people are hit, but they're stuck with their salary zone. And I'm talking to my friends. They don't like the work they do, but they बोलते कि यार चलता है, life चल गया ना, हम करते रहेंगे. So I make difficult choices now, not later. This is my solution.
We have a few questions from the student community. One of them asked, how do you build up a startup in core? How do you have a great career in core civil engineering?
So is the question, how do you build up a startup in core?
Yes.
यार core में तो बहुत सारे problems है solve करने का, because no one are solving them. See, the most of our core, except जो structural maybe, are all borrowed technologies. हम इंडिया में ज्यादा कुछ किया नहीं. Most of it we adopted from what has been developed across the world. But these things don't fit in with our requirements as it is. There is a significant scope to understand technologies and and fit it with the real world applications of real world applications in India. For example, but the core of it is for you to know what is that you want to solve. For me to solve, if the question is how to get into the core, you need to understand what are the problems to be solved. Well, I also didn't know what problems to solve. But when I decided to walk along Ganga, 850 kilometers, initially the डर लगा यार 850 kilometers कौन चलता है गंगा किनारे, like that too alone. But there is no other way. You cannot read them on books. No one knows, not your faculty knows, nor policymakers knows, nor journalists know. No one knows what are the real problem statements of water in India. So whichever domain in core that you want to solve, first genuinely understand what are the gaps, recognize the gaps. As a smart person, immediately you will recognize the gaps. Start seeing what gaps as a commercial opportunity and start solving them. Make a small prototype, make an MVP, minimum viable product. Anyone who wants to get into startup, I would suggest reading Lean Startup as a first book to go ahead with. So you make a minimum viable product and start pitching your idea to investors or angel investors. So see the Indian scenario for investments is become crazy now. People are investing. So you pick a right problem, and if you solve it, it generates value to a certain group of people who can pay. Then you are on it. Then you should start. Now, core mein job to going to any other place, for a job I would suggest go to the core. Initially, the see दूसरे जगह में ना डायरेक्टली इधर स्टार्ट करोगे एंड देन स्टैग्नेट हो जाओ. कोर में यू विल स्टार्ट स्लो बट धीरे 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 करके वेयर यू विल गो यू विल हैव ए वेरी यूनिक प्रोपोजिशन. जहाँ सॉफ्टवेयर में जाओगे, कंसल्टेंसी में जाओगे, पीपल हु कम फ्रॉम हर जगह से पहुंच जाएंगे उधर. You have too much of competition, but in a core, people people who are coming from the core only can come there. You won't have random competition. So उस type में you will have a better career after 5 years, 7 years. You'll have better visibility on your career, better impact also. But अभी से वो choice लेना सही है.
Thank you for the insightful advice. We have another question. You recently received 3.29 crores of funding from the Atal Bhujal Yojana, the Technology Development Board, for your innovation, the Dhara Smart Kilometer, which will track water distribution and usage. Please elaborate on the idea behind the Dhara Smart Kilometer.
So this is the same thing that I was telling you about. Now the groundwater has to be conserved. Now the first step to any better management is measurement, right? So first you need to know how much water you're using. For example, one of the edible oil company in Kanpur that we interacted with, they came to us, they said, you guys are working in water, you help us reduce our water consumption. Then you ask them, sir, how many liters of water do you consume? They said, we consume around 2.8 to 3 lakh liters per day. It's like, we thought, wow, that's a huge amount of water. Now we have a good scope of conservation maybe. And then we put meters, these smart meters. These meters essentially measure the water flow and log it and then transmit it using cellular communication to our servers. And these and the data automatically gets tagged, get analyzed, and you get reports and everything. So once we started metering these, and these meters are tamper-proof, so they run on batteries. You don't have to put any external power. Everything is inbuilt. Bas meter lagao, it will start giving you the data on your phone. So unlike the current existing meters where you have a separate dashboard is separate thing, सब अलग-अलग companies से आते हैं. So that is a kind of small innovation that we did here. Now after metering, they have 6 borewells. We have put meters in 3 borewells. They were using 22 lakh liters of water per day. So उन्होंने सोचा पूरे that they were afraid that they are using more water. They thought they are using 3 lakh liters per day. But when we put meters, we realized that they are using 22 lakh liters per day. So there is a gross misunderstanding of how much water we use. We never measure. We never know. So once you measure, you will know. So this Dhara Smart Flow Meter, for which this Department of Science and Technology selects every 1 year, they select 1 or 2 technologies across India. Like 2 years back, they selected Bharat Biotech. Like that, they select technologies that has very wide application in India. Now, this meter can be used for drinking water supply, schemes, groundwater monitoring, industrial water monitoring, pipe irrigation, everything. We'll give you a track of water resource monitoring and give you an analysis of how much water you're using, where is the wastage, what is the scope of conservation, how to build efficiency, all of that.
Now we have the run. Let's ask some questions. Please unmute yourself.
Hey Harsha. So
Hi.
like my my I have some I have many questions. So first of all, starting from two questions, like
Mhm.
how did you figure out from the earliest days? You said that you started your entrepreneurial journey from the first year. So how did you figure out what people will pay for, starting from the advertisement business and right through the to Kritsnam Technologies? How did you figure out that this is the thing that people will pay for? Uh, yeah,
No. See, our journey didn't start with what would people pay for. That was second step. First was what is that problem statement that I'm excited that I think that I believe should be solved. For example, the advertisements we thought that yeah, every company says that we are best. Now, how do customers choose which company or which product to go for? If you look at reviews and all are big reviews from only experts. But this was back in 2010 when Twitter भी नहीं है. Twitter तभी तभी आ रहा है. So during that time, so we thought here there needs to be a network built, social network kind of a thing for products where people can give short reviews per product and they can and there should be way to segregate the short reviews and have a all the advertisements put in one place and where people can also give suggestions or their emotions on a particular product. So we thought, how do I make a choice of a which product to buy? How do I make that choice more clearer for myself? We thought this is a problem that has to be solved. Now, with this idea, then we work backwards. Now, for us to solve this problem, how do we monetize? Do we bring this, once we aggregate these pages, do we bring companies to sell their products here? Or do we sell the pages to the companies? Or how do I aggregate people to come here? Do we give them some discounts? You work backwards. So a good story is a problem that is worth solving, a problem that is value for people, a problem that is pinching for a certain group of people that you want to solve. One and while solving that problem, you would want to figure out avenues for what will they pay for. If you see many big companies didn't figure out where the money will come from at this time. They went ahead and solved the problem. So I don't say that is always the best way, but uh, that comes second.
got it. And one more question. So, like the problem that you solved with Kristnam Technologies, so that was a very low-hanging fruit that was there, which you found out to pick up, right?
Right.
So, so my question is that the problem of climate change which is occurring, so I see a lot of low hanging, I believe that there are a lot of low hanging fruits, but how do you discover those low hanging fruits, like the low hanging problems that need to be solved right now? And the follow up question to that is that how do you, like, because as you said that the government was a very like vague customer for your business, so you needed to sell to some like plants and
Right.
farmers, right?
Right.
But farmers are also like are they're not really ready to pay for, because there is no motivation for water, and this is
Right.
the case with almost any natural resource, and this is the case with climate change.
Right.
So how do you solve that?
Yeah, step by step. देखो मतलब see the problem as you put the word vague, vast, and yeah, specifically the problems like this. If you try to solve, मान लो marketplace, US में marketplace already solve हो गया and you build something similar here. These are known problems. Or let's say distribution. Like my friend with whom I started my first company went into um, solving hyperlocal logistics. And that company was sold at some 20-30 million dollars. And then now we started another company where you can play games and it's a betting. Have you heard about MPL gaming, MG game? So they're running now. So these are If you venture into it, then the problem is known. How you solve it, you will figure it out. But in the cases like water, the problem, what is that low hanging fruit is not evidently known. If it is known, so many people would have come and solved that. So it's a dark room. You need to touch multiple places and figure out what is really a low hanging fruit. So it will take you 2 to 3 years. It took us almost 4 years to discover what is a low hanging fruit. Even though it is low hanging, maybe it is right beside us. It's a dark room. We didn't know. No one was solving the problems there. So when you solve tough problems, persistence is the key, boss. You have to be persistent. You have to touch every angle of the problem statement. Then you'll realize, okay, this is a pain point. If addressed immediately, it is monetizable. You will not know on the day one. Day one, you will be looking on opposite direction altogether. You will make mistakes. You will fail. You will fail hard. You will fall on your face flat. And then you get up and then you go to the second place, discover whether it is monetizable or not. If you solve this problem, someone will pay or not. Then third, fourth, fifth, then you hit on the low hanging fruit. Once you hit on that, then catch it, then make your entire engine ready to capture that particular market. Capture it. Then go for the second. And the capture kar rahe ho, even then, that's not as easy as you thought. Then some other problem will come. You have to keep on solving problems. Solve करते करते तो IIT पे पहुंचे, तो और भी solve करते रहना हो.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last question, and this is a general question which many people might be having. So, like, how did you decide the people that you wanted to work with? Like, how did you decide your team?
Yeah, इसमें for me it was a largely intuitive thing. For me, my batchmate who was also civil engineering, Vinay Chatterjee, जो कि I told you about a few guys जो who are good at CPI, who will teach other people. I used to go to his room and he used to teach me. And he became the sales guy, I became the tech guy relative. I think IIT Kanpur or your initial group of founders, you need to have some good amount of relationship with them. Even new people get by. There are evidences how the new people come together, but that's like it has to work. But the probability of that working is there with your friends. So for me, the choice is always about new people. In my company, in Kritsnam, I always pulled in people with whom I spend time, with whom I love spending time. There in startup there will be high points, low points, and you need good company. The journey you want to have a great journey first. So with whom you can feel that you can have a great journey, and who has enough hunger to solve that problem, you should have them on board. Capabilities बन जाए. अगर एकदम ही incapable है तो then you have to make decisions, make calls. But majority of the capabilities बन जाए. Yeah.
Got it. Got it, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have another question. As undergraduates, we are often confused about what to do, what extra skills or co-curricular things we should learn that would help us in better shaping our future. So, what would you suggest us to improve our skills? What skills should we take up?
Skills, huh? I think IIT Kanpur में one of the important skill that I learned is dealing with people. When in campus you get to meet people from various backgrounds, right? Interacting with them, understanding how to empathize with them, understanding how to come up with a win-win deal is one of the important skill. See, when we negotiate or negotiation is, our life is all about negotiating continuously, right? You negotiate with your friend कि यार बाहर इधर जाना है उधर जाना है, or we go to a movie or we go to a restaurant. You negotiate with your parents कि अभी इस वाले छुट्टी में जाना है, नेक्स्ट वाले छुट्टी में जाना है. So always we go through negotiations कि यार साथ में पढ़ना है, अकेले अकेले पढ़ना है. So every day we go through negotiations. The one thing that I learned in campus is there is a merit to to learning how to negotiate a win-win deal in everything that we do. The negotiation में generally हम जब बाहर when we go to street market, negotiation को ऐसा we feel that either he wins or we win, right? Or she wins or we win. यार उसने मेरे को यार उसने फंसा दिया यार मैं जीत गया मैं बहुत सस्ते में ले लूँ. But I think in real in a more long-term perspective, we should we should put extra effort to come up with a negotiation that leads to both win-win scenario. For example, you and your friend is saying that he or she wants a water bottle. I say that I also want water bottle. Now you both fight for it, then in a general negotiation, either you win or she wins, right? But if you really go one step backward and ask why do that person requires this water bottle? Maybe she wants to use that water for watering a plant, and maybe you want to use the bottle to take it to your adventure trip. So then give the water and take the bottle. So in many cases there is a way by which you can craft a win-win deal. It's not as simple as this, but it takes effort to do that, but it is worth it. Once you do that, the relationships last longer. It's never about I win, you lose, or you win, I lose. It's always about how do I craft solutions that will create a win-win scenario for both of us in every small thing. कि यार ये वाला लेक्चर में नहीं जाना है, अगले वाले लेक्चर में जाना है, आज लेक्चर जाना है नहीं जाना. Whatever small negotiation to higher negotiation, job के लिए negotiations कर रहे हो या career negotiations कर रहे हो या negotiating with a venture capitalist or a funding agency, it's all the principle is same. You always think about an empathetic route in which you make others win and you win. I think fundamentally it's an important skill to develop.
Really great advice for everyone. Another question. What are good opportunity in civil engineering industry for an MTech candidate?
Is there MTech say क्या? Do we have any MTechs? Let's see, from my experience, what I saw, a lot of MTechs, जो कि unfortunately, or let's say it is, but generally job security के चक्कर में GATE लिखते हैं and they go for standard GATE लिखते हैं and they apply for public companies or they apply for statewide jobs and they go there. But I think a good MTech student should always aim to join a good R&D institute to start with, where whatever he learned, building new things should be right at the start of your career, not at a later point. Later point you'd want to settle. So if you want to learn the capability of building a new thing, a capability of innovation is a higher order capability than execution, if you know it. So initial point of career, if you dedicate towards innovation, it will be fruitful for you in going forward. As an MTech student, you should aim to go to a startup that is doing a new work, or a R&D center, or a big company in an R&D center doing some cutting edge work. You should focus there rather than going in government jobs or becoming a faculty. Faculty is also good, but yeah, I would recommend getting into more research. Yeah.
A follow-up question for this. What's the future in R&D sector of hydrology in India and foreign?
Yeah, future to build करना पड़ेगा. See, the current, as of now, the available opportunities are being a researcher, being a modeler. But there are tremendous opportunities in terms of problem solving and startup opportunities, which should be explored and hit hard. I think there's a lot many companies. Surprisingly, I saw that there's so many companies are popping up in water resources and they're coming with crazy ideas. And I think this domain requires that. People should come up with bold ideas. At least try for a year or two. Yeah, everyone who is sitting here, even if you fall flat, you will fall flat with a 50,000-60,000 job or a lakh job. इससे नीचे तो नहीं जाओ, है ना, मतलब तुम्हारा बेसिक नेसेसिटीज टेकन केयर. So if anyone can feel, can entertain fear but not you guys. No, you don't entertain fear in life. Take risks. Well, at least the first 2 3 years, just do something crazy. Try to solve a crazy problem. If you fall flat, be proud that you are falling flat by solving a crazy problem.
What an immaculate answer. We have a last question. What are your best memories here at IIT campus?
Yeah, my entire life's the best memories were in the IIT Kanpur only. Like with friends, I love each and every one. There was no malice. Genuinely enjoyed each other's company, and the campus allowed all of it. I think mm, ever indebted for everything that has happened in the campus.
Well, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Everyone along with me enjoyed it. We are really grateful to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you.